Introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. Also known as INFJ, one of 16 personality types according to the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. INFJs are commonly called advocates, and they're one of the rarest types among all 16, as they represent only about 2% of the population. In this video, we're going to reveal the top 9 weird quirks and strange habits of advocates. Welcome to Viral Brain, where we explore the psychology of different personality types. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can be notified whenever we release new content. Number 1. Advocates can spend a ridiculously long time tying their shoelaces or organizing their desks. They could cut off a whole page because of a small mistake or wash their hands 50 times a day. In short, they're extremely prone to developing perfectionist habits. INFJs are idealistic, and they can sometimes spend a lot of time and effort on something to make it live up to their ideals. This is great in many ways, since they wouldn't produce anything of less than stellar quality. But it can also mean that they waste too much resources when an alternative solution would be more efficient. If you're an INFJ, it would be difficult for you to let go of the perfect scenario and make do with Plan B because Plan A is too expensive or too difficult. You're willing to go to great lengths to make sure everything is 100%, even if it's not worth it. This means that you can be counted on to deliver flawless results, but it also means that it can sometimes be difficult for you to start something, because you're waiting for the right time or preparing the right circumstances needed to make the thing perfect. This can make advocates lose a lot of opportunities and can sometimes be perceived as procrastinators. They can sometimes find it difficult to appreciate their jobs, living conditions, or relationships if they're constantly focused on imperfections and wondering if they should look for something better. Number 2. Advocates can sometimes start a fight over what seems to be nothing. Why? Sensitivity to criticism. They can be extremely prone to it. They're the most idealistic personality type. They do everything on principle and care about doing the right thing more than their own personal gains. So when someone challenges their principles or personal values, they don't take it lightly. They can become exceedingly defensive in the face of criticism, especially when it's an insult to their core beliefs. So what seems to most people as an innocent joke or a clear-intentioned statement can start a full-blown lecture and argument on morals and principles by an advocate. This can make a lot of people avoid them, especially those who indulge in things INFJs would consider unrighteous. And although this leaves advocates with fewer options when it comes to making friends, it makes sure that the relationships they build are with trustworthy and like-minded people, and more likely to last, have meaning, and be fulfilling. Number 3. INFJs are afraid of the normal. Kenophobia. It's okay if you don't know what this means. It's not a very common word. However, its definition is quite popular. The fear of being ordinary. In other words, the fear of the average. Advocates are motivated by the sense of having a greater purpose in life. Their dream is creating solutions that change people's lives. They want to have a real impact. This is their main motivation that spurs them on to achieving great things for humanity. However, it can sometimes backfire. They can often find themselves thinking that what they're doing is not enough and feeling like they're meant for something bigger. And this can sometimes make people think they're weird or unrealistic. INFJs might get extremely frustrated if their life gets tedious, or if they can't see how what they're doing on a daily basis will contribute to their big visions. They can sometimes be blind to the fact that they can't change the world in one day. You need thousands of days of consistent work before you can really make a difference. Beware of that trap. If you think you're destined for something bigger, don't wait for destiny to deliver it. Go out there and get it, and be certain that it'll take time. Number 4. INFJs can be awkward on dates, and they can sometimes jump to huge asks or commitments way too early. They're just not that interested in small conversation. They want deep connections. INFJs take the process of finding a life partner very seriously. They look for depth and meaning in their relationships, refusing to settle for anything less than true love. This can mean advocates can spend a long time single, looking for the right one, but it also means they'll end up with someone who's perfectly compatible with their idealistic views of love and relationships. If you find yourself longing for deep connections and romantic feelings more than physical desire, that's a huge sign you're an INFJ. And it means that when INFJs finally find the right one, they'll probably have a happy ever after with them. Number 5. INFJs can sometimes interfere in situations that don't concern them, and either save the day or make a fool out of themselves. If advocates love one thing, it's standing up for what's right. They advocate for the right thing, hence came the name advocates. This is something they're widely respected for, and they often gain the trust and admiration of people who work under them. They want to create a world where everyone does the right thing, and that's why concepts like equality and karma mean a great deal to them. They're not afraid to use their strengths to ensure that happens, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical. They can get into literal fights for someone they don't even know just because they want to do the right thing. This is why INFJ is considered to be the best type to govern the people. Sometimes people forget that government is all about serving the people, not ruling them. And INFJs make sure everyone is reminded of that. Advocates will always stand up for the guy who catcalls a lady, and not to impress anyone, but because of a sincere sense of indignation. They stand up to a superior or a teacher or a parent if they ask them to do something that's not right. They may see helping others as their primary purpose in life. They hate injustice, and they care more about altruism than personal gain. Before we continue, there's something you need to understand first. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator identifies personalities according to 4 elements: extroversion versus introversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. And the personality traits arise from different combinations of these 4 elements. Number 6. INFJs can make frequent remarks about smells, sounds, or temperatures. "It's too hot," "Smells so good in here," stuff like that. The reason for this is that some INFJs develop a personality function called extroverted sensing, which means they become hyper-aware of the information relayed from their senses. Note that this is not a biological superpower. They don't see, hear, or smell better than anyone. They're just really conscious of everything they're seeing, hearing, and smelling, which means they'd feel the cold breeze on their skin, enjoy the sound of music, or marvel at the deliciousness of food more than anyone could understand. However, this can also mean that INFJs would suffer from pain more than other people would. Or they're prone to having pet peeves like chewing noises or bright lights. Number 7. INFJs can sometimes make up conspiracy theories. This is because of their introverted intuition function. INFJs look within themselves to find what they believe and like about the world. They internalize facts and patterns, and are more interested in what everything means to them rather than simply looking at it for what it is. And although this can make them immune to obvious propaganda or fake news, it can sometimes result in them coming up with absurd conspiracy theories and connecting dots that aren't supposed to be connected. If we had to make a guess, we'd say that the most dedicated conspiracy theorists in the world are all INFJs. Of course, not all advocates are like that. The general trend is that most INTJs are high achievers. They're ambitious, hardworking, and they enjoy thinking about the future and exploring different scenarios. Because advocates are so focused on themselves and their goals rather than anyone else, they can sometimes be oblivious to how people perceive them or feel about them. So they can find themselves saying things that exasperate people's emotions, even though they have clear intentions. They have very little awareness of things like competitiveness, jealousy, and peer pressure. They just do their own thing, regardless of what the world thinks. Number 8. INFJs can like weird things, like a double espresso latte frappuccino hazelnut flavor, no cream, half-skimmed milk, 2 sugars. Or they can listen to music from the past century. People might think it's odd, but this results from the fact that advocates have strongly defined preferences. They don't like something or someone just because everyone likes it. They look within themselves to find what they truly enjoy in life, and they're not afraid to embrace it. So they have different tastes in music, food, art, places, and pretty much everything. They probably like some underground bands or a not-so-mainstream genre of art. People mistake the INFJ's unique preferences as being too cool for school, and it can be frustrating trying to prove otherwise. Therefore, advocates try to avoid discussing their goals and ambitions with people they don't know well and who might hold grudges, and don't reveal their unique preferences until they're comfortable with someone and they're sure they wouldn't be judgmental. Number 9. INFJs can sometimes mix up two unrelated fields to create a hybrid career, like writing about criminology or becoming an environmental lawyer. This is because advocates value their independence and autonomy over anything, even financial compensation. A good paycheck and an impressive title just won't cut it. They want something in which they can express their creativity, apply their principles, and grow as a person, and it must align with their values. This is why many advocates seek leadership positions or start their own business, and it's more often than not a new idea or a unique solution to an existing problem. It's also common for an INFJ to be drawn into a career in the arts, like a writer, a painter, photographer, or even architect. They're strong communicators, and they have an amazing talent in communicating their thoughts or feelings through a piece of art. Thanks for watching.